Today, I want to address the 4-button gameplay meme by Lazy Peon, a video that I've used before in the past.
Personally, I just don't think the combat and movement in this game is good enough. These heavily instanced MMO light games, such as Warframe, Vindictus, Lost.
One example, and then another one. This one's by Force Gaming.
You know, every single Wingrave has the 4 same abilities, for example. Those are locked in and they never change. However, as you level up your character, you are granted points to enhance those abilities, but there's no choice here. There's no like branching tree. Basically, every ability has 3 tiers of upgrades, and then as you upgrade it, it just makes it stronger, giving it, additional percentage damage or healing or whatever, just making it better. It is a pretty bare bones system, and I'm actually a little disappointed that they haven't expanded further upon it. I don't know why there aren't at least like 8 options. Like if we can only have 4 active skills, at least have like multiple variations of those. If nothing else, what I would love to see, so that you take the 4 base abilities of my Wingrave, and then once I level it up, give it a branching path where I can change and pick from one of 2 options.
8. Every ability 8, 4 times 8, that's 32 options. And so what do we end up with? What do we end up with if we do this? With this? Right? Or this. Or old school, new school, I guess, World of Warcraft tried this. Then this, there is PoE. This one, which is a really old game, actually. PlayStation 2. Not 3, not 4, definitely not 5. So, of course, I am slightly pulling both Lazy Peons and Force Gaming's lag a little bit. They did good videos. I really like them. But this lol, can't have a good game with only 4 abilities. It's gonna be failure. Lol, KEK A mobile game. What I would like to address is, I think, actually Wayfinder with its current setup, the way it is designed with only 4 plus 1 ability, so 4 character abilities plus 1 weapon ability, so per weapon, might have the very best setup to make one of, if not the best, combat gameplay we have seen so far. What could that be? Let's head into this. Very first point, echoes. Is there an E? Pretend there's an E. Pretend there's no E. Item drops, gem style like kind of things you can inscribe on your weapons, on your items, on your character. They modify them. They give you different types of things you can do. And to the degree where it becomes so customizable that there is unique effects. So the higher level echoes, the more rare echoes will be really interesting and cool. And that's something that even Force Gaming, he himself points it out.
All of a sudden it summons a damage shield equal to 25% of your health. Or there was one that I found where any melee combo finishers, which is just basically the end of an attack chain, once you reach that, it then summons a large AoE blast. And these are just 3 examples of this class of echoes that will modify your attacks or your abilities or give you some sort of passive enhancement.
And he only found 3. Modify everything. So you will see, weapons, the attack swings themselves, different characters, so there's lots of options there to make cool combos. So the system is already in place, will guarantee a high level of customization of these abilities and the weapons and their respective swings themselves. But I do think that because we're looking at a game that it is, well, action RPG, or I prefer to say swing combat. It's a swing combat, right? So you have certain swings in each directions, right? Not tap target, what used to be the standard. But the swing base so far that we've seen is very regimented. It's very much stuck in place. I think it has some potential. Here's what it is. Swing style combat potential. I will highlight this with the example of a game called Dreamscaper. Okay, Peter, I will borrow the gamepad. Okay. Yes, I'm a noob. I like playing these games with a gamepad. You do have basically 2 types of attacks. So there's one swing, and if there is enough time in between, it resets. Normal. If I keep going, all right, it does like a triple attack. 1, 2, 3 and does like a big finishing attack. And then there's this kind of secondary attack that goes like this. And I did turn the sound off here so you can't hear it. There's sound cues for all of this. And here's the cool thing though that I think would be interesting, and I think Wayfinder has the best setup for it with only 4 abilities, or 4 plus 1. Imagine if you could manipulate the swings of the game. We've just seen something similar for the new Final Fantasy 16 reveal. There was some gameplay where you could basically get items that would make it easier to do certain combat movements by slowing the game down and giving you little kind of on-screen, let's call them mini targets or mini kind of goals of performing a certain skill, or even just pressing one button. So make the game easier. But what if you could make the game not harder, but reward players who are able to execute timings on swings to their liking and get then kind of rewarded for this? I'm a big fan of not punishing players for not being able to do something, but rewarding them for being able to execute something difficult. So here in Dreamscaper, if you see I'm doing a swing, and the character here is like a little flash every then and now. You see, this is the standard swing. There's a flash. If I hit the flash correctly, there's like an extra speed up. It kind of flashes up a little bit. There's a little like a spark there. You see, there was like sparks around me. If I get the timing exactly right, so if I initiate the next swing with the button, when that flash happens, I hit the timing perfect. So it's like a perfect swing, and it gives me bonus damage, faster swing, so it goes faster, and tells me you've done well. And there's also a bing, a little bing sound cue to kind of give you feedback. So it's feedback. So there isn't much I can manipulate here, unfortunately. This is basically it. If I do this swing 1, 2, 3 at the end, boom. So I got 1 perfect and perfect, 2 times perfect. So that's going to give me 3 perfect swings. There's also like a dodge, and there's different dodge skills. This is like a fire skill. And you see even there's a blink. So if I dodge and then do a swing, you can combine it. Thank you, Peter. So to come back and explain why I think this is so easy to implement on Wayfinder, it's because we're looking at a combat style that is swing based for every character and or cannon based. We've seen something already with Silo where the reload mechanism has a little kind of ability that you have to hit to get a really good improvement. Unfortunately, what they did there, they punishing players who are not able to hit that. I don't think that should happen. I think what is the main thing to do the swing combat potential, and here I'm going to call this, I'm going to give this a name, I'm going to call it skill based. So not ability, I mean by skill, player skill, and then reward what good play. So I think the silo could be changed that every time you do hit it, that for the next kind of 6 shots or something, whatever it is, you get bonus damage, bonus speed, whatever it is. If not, nothing happens, you just get the normal reroll. I think there should be a bonus. And here's the cool thing. Now imagine what you could do. Imagine if every character had kind of a collection of swings. So in this game I showed you Dreamscaper, you only had like 4 swings. But what if every time you can have these frames in between where you maybe have some sort of feedback, like there was the white flash, there could be a new user interface element that shows you something. It could be the character doing something. There's other ways of giving the feedback. Hey, do something now for a bonus, right? And you could manipulate then. And if you do like a forward swing with Wingrave or with Kairos or something, or Senja, and then you do sideways pull on your gamepad, do a pull sideways, so you want a sideways swing. Maybe there's another whole set of swings that you can do and attacks for each weapon that goes sideways. And then if you've done a forward and a sideways, you get a combination, right? So how does that sound? That I know that some of you will go now, this is way too complicated. But all those noobs will not be able to do this. People will completely fall out. And I agree to a certain degree. You can't make this basically so it's complicated from the start. There needs to be like a progression through levels, right? So you have to introduce the story throughout the game and give the player potential to get bonuses rather than punishments. I don't think there should be punishments for not being able to do that. So imagine if there's like, for each character, right? So put out 4 Wingrave, swing start, Roman 1, right? And there's a forward swing here, forward A. From there, you get options. Like you can go into forward A2 and then forward A3 or final or whatever you want, a final swing. Or you can go to the right, for example, right A, and suddenly you're unlocking all the right skills. And you could go down that, for example, you could, if you wanted, okay, now I want to go again forward swing. Or maybe there's a whole backward A selection of swings for this weapon. Swing style, I should add here, swing styles per weapon. Here we could then, oh, I did a forward, right? Then I did this second, but now I want to back up. So I could go now and pick the backward A2 swing. How about we combine it with an ability, right? So I go through here, I've done this to 3, and then 4, I pull at the end after I move backwards. Maybe there is like a shield pull after that. If he has a shield and the sword equipped, you kind of go backwards, and then you hit an ability. And because if you've done it right here in between, this is what I'm talking about these golden spaces here. I wanted to make them yellow. About these opportunities for here to include in each of these spots in between. Imagine this is a gauge, right? And you have like, this is minimum, and then like the kind of thing we saw for Silo, and then there's the perfect window there. So you get a bonus if you hit it somewhere here on the user interface feedback or on the character feedback. You get a bonus here. So this goes up. Poof, perfect window. It goes up. It doesn't go down. If not, you just still do the normal attack damage basically. And then if you do like a double combination, it might go up double, right? And then if you do it, okay, here again on this, if there's this feedback window and you hit the perfect one there, you get triple bonus. Or this triggers something special. And how does that look? Fighting game systems or mechanics and implement them into an RPG. How I think that, like, I can't stop thinking about this. This is what I'm talking about it right now. It's, imagine if you weren't just, we went from tap target to the action combat style, and now if we actually had, it was skill dependent. It was completely dependent on us. It would be all here, skill based. I, as the player, as the human player, decide how good I am at controlling my character. And then you have the ability for all these points, like echoes everywhere. There's then so many possibilities to not already just use what you have as a player and then kind of modify your swing style, your combat style, and feel like you control what is happening, because it depends just on you how many bonuses you get, how many extra effects you can unlock within one swing style, with across swing styles, and how you can combine abilities on top of that. And because there isn't like hundreds or even tens of abilities, there's just 4, you can very precisely put the abilities that you want in the right spots in this kind of combat that you're progressing through. Then Echoes could additionally modify all these points. It could very easily modify everything that happens here in between, that happens here. Or it could modify kind of the final outputs. It could modify then this, if you hit this window right here, you then get whatever you do, you get an extra bonus here. Boom, it goes up, for example. This could be an echo that gives, if you hit timings, it gives you like, puts you on fire. And if enemies attack you, and while you keep hitting the right window, you get increased fire damage. And maybe if you hit 2 in a row perfectly, like perfect swing, you like explode waves out of it every time you do it. That could be an echo that just modifies your whole character. This could be a character echo. That has so much potential to give us a whole new level that directly basically gives the whole power of a character and its abilities and the weapons and the echo modifications back to the player and says, here, you're be a good player. Let's go. And the final piece that I would like to talk about is all of that could be used for really cool leaderboards. And I call them just accuracy leaderboards. But then we might get leaderboards or not. But then what leaderboards? Like how fast did you eliminate a randomly procedurally generated dungeon? How fast did you do a hunt? I don't know, this sounds so boring. We've been doing this for so long. Like how this hasn't changed really from early MMO days where we tried to be the first to clear a dungeon, or even to any kind of playthroughs that we've seen, whether it was old school Diablo 2 leaderboards or ladders. But what if you could take this second point, if you hit 100% accuracy on your combat in this dungeon expedition, which means if you are going through this tree here if you're doing every swing, right? You're doing every swing here. So you're doing this first swing over here, right? And boom, you get this right. So you perfectly, this was executed very well. Boom, done. Now, then you hit this one right. Boom, nice. Boom, nice. And then you move on. And then you can kind of keep going that way. And then there's maybe an evade you have to hit. Perfect dodges. And then you don't get hit, obviously, you don't get damaged because you plan your dodges right. And it doesn't mean you have to do lots of damage really fast, but just means that you play with accuracy and you make use of those combo windows that you have always perfectly. That's like the top score. The top score for every encounter, every boss, or every expedition, every hunt will be 100%. Instead of chasing damage or a quick clearing time, is to chase perfect combat mechanics so that you never get damaged, or as little as possible, that you get as many combos as you can, you hit as many windows as good as you can, and then you have like these percentages. And how does that sound? Also, percentage is for each song, how well you're able to trace kind of the beats, as well as how good you're at aiming basically for the notes. And that would be so cool because you can always go there and you can fight for your own improvement. And I'm fully aware that this may or may not cause complications for groups of three. Or maybe if there's like open world bosses, so if there's larger raid bosses down the road, then there must be maybe a group average. How did everyone go? But maybe still your representation could be there. That will be, I think, so much more interesting to play because you this year your own player skills so well that you can hit like a 92%. And how cool would it be? Imagine if you like, there is like a hunt at full level, there's a couple of them hopefully, there's lots of them hopefully, and then there's a lot of them that no one has hit 90% and someone suddenly does like 95%. And it's Wayfinder with 4 abilities, a meme mobile game. I don't think so. I think there's a lot of potential here, and I hope we can see the next level of RPG gameplay being slowly implemented throughout the game experience that will already launch this year, and then throughout, of course, the following additions to the game. I would love to know what you think. That's it. Just like punch it into the comments. Am I silly? Is this going to be way too hard? Is this already exist in some games? I know some games do a little bit of that, but maybe I've missed something that it's already done besides fighting games. I want to know because I think that's a good idea. I like my idea. That's why we like it. Yes?